Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mikestand. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mikestand. Tonight is, of course, Sunday, November 2nd. Of course, with this being Sunday, it's our weekly look back through comics history. Tonight, we're going to continue our trek through July of 1940, as we're going to be looking at comics that went on sale from July 1940 from Timely Comics, what we know of today now as Marvel.
Marvel.
Yeah. So before we do all that, I'm going to hand it off to Rick for a moment here to give him a chance to share any links, promote anything. I think you know the shtick, right? Right, Rick?
If I don't, there's a problem. I've been doing this how long? Too long. I'm not sure whether it's too long or not, but I've been doing it a while. Anyways, of course, I am Rick Piper. I do my own comics, uh, my third issue of Canadian Shield, which is one of my main characters, is going to be out very soon. But that the crowdfunding for that's all done. So I will just share a link to my YouTube channel where you can go see various stuff that I'm doing over there. So, yeah, guess we're good then.
All right. Anything more you want to say before we continue?
Nothing I can think of.
All right. Of course, a friendly reminder to everybody, both my Rumble and my YouTube viewers, if you haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Or we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. Of course, aside from, of course, going to the comics, we'll also do this weekend in each history as well at the end. So, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get going here?
Yeah,
Um,
because it's on with the show. This is it. No more rehearsing. We don't know our parts by heart because we don't even know what our parts are.
all right, so with that now, let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and pull up the material here. All right. All right, Marvel Mystery Comic. Oh yeah, and you want to do voices? You want to read along and do voices as well, right, Rick?
Yeah,
All
no
right.
reason why I shouldn't.
All right. Sometimes some people want to take nights off or whatever, just do commentary. Sometimes, so that's. I know I probably don't need to ask you every time because of the fact you usually do, but you
Yeah,
know.
I would probably end up saying if I couldn't for whatever reason.
Marvel Mystery Comics number 11, 10 cents September. The cover date September, of course. Let's see. A1 has. All right.
AI.
AI has stood between the um, the Nazi the Nazi Cortex and world conquest. Oh, okay. The human. Oh wait. Oh,
AI that stood between the Nazi horde and the world conqueror.
the
He's
human. The
the
human.
human torch.
Right. Also, Submariner, the Angel, Caesar, and others. All right. So here are some
Red.
of the other titles at the time, including Mystic Comics, Red Raven Comics, Daring Mystery Comics, The Fiery Mask, and let's get right into The Human Torch. by Carl Burgos. How it reached New York, no one knew, but the dreaded Black Plague struck with the speed of lightning in the slums. So you want to go ahead and do the doctor there?
You're mad, Dr. Stone. It just can't be. Not in the greatest metropolis in the world.
Can't be, huh? Then why are there people dying from it? I tell you, Reed, we must fight this disease.
Easily said. But how? Wonder if that's Reed Richards.
No, he doesn't come along for another 20 years.
Yeah, I know. DC, of course.
To begin with, burn all the houses in this section.
You forgot, Doc. This is a business town. And that spells crooked politicians and businessmen. They won't let you do it.
Perhaps, but somewhere someone will arise to smash these selfish beings. Come on, Reed. Start dumping these waste cans. We're going to burn out this rat's nest.
You're taking a chance on arson, but count me in.
No, you don't. I own those buildings. Fool, they're infested with the Black Plague. Think I care? As long as I collect rent, nobody is going to ruin my profits. Ugh!
Let's go of him. Let go of him.
From around the corner, a policeman comes into view. The torch. Break it up! Break it up!
I told you to let go.
Oh, it's you. Oh, it's you, Dr. Stone. Now what goes on? Those dilapidated shacks harbor the Black Plague. And he tried to burn them down. That's attempted arson. Well, Frank Simmons, so it's arson, eh? All the doc is trying to do is the same the people who are forced to live in those dumps you own. So what? Doc, I'd like to help you. I'm the human torch. The torch? Reed, what did I tell you? He's the man who'll stop rats like Simmons. Torch, huh? Well, if you persist in helping the doc, I'll break you off the force. I don't like people who threaten me. Scram. Now you know why he wants to burn the building down?
Yeah, because get rid of the Black Plague. I get that. Get rid of the disease, Well,
Right.
maybe you can
There
make
are
sure that
diseases like the Black Plague, like typhus, typhoid. The only way you can really eradicate the I don't know if it's a germ or bacteria. I don't know if it's a virus or bacteria. The only way you can really eradicate it is to just burn it out.
yeah, but the thing is, you don't want to kill people in the process, So I get sort of burning the buildings down. Unfortunately, I think this ends up putting, as much as I sort of get it, ends up putting the Torch in a bad light, in my opinion. At least maybe by today's standards, I'm not sure what they would have thought that
Well,
back then.
well, yeah. Well,
Because he seems like a bit of a crooked cop. This businessman who, doesn't want his buildings torched and has a right not to have them torched. There's nothing gone through government officials or whatever for this stuff to be burned down. And when the businessman threatens to report him, he threatens them. So the torch is, in a sense, being
well, okay, but the
a
thing,
very crooked cop.
but from what we've seen of this time period, right?
Yeah,
If anything, it is the people in they constantly point out that it's the people who are in power, the business owners, some people, politicians, all that, who are actually the actual corrupt individuals.
yeah. Now this guy
And
is not the most reputable either. He's saying as long as I get my rent. Well, if they're all dead, they can't pay your rent. So
yeah, well,
and who's going to move it?
I would think though that
And
that
if your place gets that stigma of the black plagues there, who's going to move in? Unless you're not charging anything. The only people that would end up living there are people that are slumming there. So
or people who just decide they're going to squat there.
yes, that's what I mean. Squatting. That's what I meant by slumming. But
Yeah. Well,
so
for all we know, they may have evacuated the building already,
yeah.
because of that, But anyway, I
We
don't
do
know.
have somebody in the chat saying hello, Jefferson, Starship Trooper.
Okay, yeah, okay. He's been in here a few times. Hey there, Jefferson Starship Trooper. Thanks for popping in.
Billiard Club is a sign of immorality too.
All right. And if you haven't
Billiard's all
already,
right.
I
Pool's all
like
right.
during the stream, see if we get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability.
So at this point, I'd say both sides of the thing are very morally gray.
Now, and I don't know if you picked this up from some of our past stories, but you know, we've seen in many of these early stories where many of these heroes slash vigilantes have gone to the extremes that you don't see them go to today.
Oh yeah,
Even Superman and Batman, right?
yeah. Well, Batman even nowadays is that, but like Superman. Like I've read some of the Superman stuff from back this day myself before I started doing with you. Like I read it like 10, 15 years ago. And, Superman was a bit nasty. He'd throw a guy up into the sky, a couple, 2 or 3 miles up and start letting him drop and catch him and repeat and all that till the guy would confess.
I think that story you read with me, I think.
Well, I read that. I probably read it with you, but I did read it before I had read it with you, too.
Yeah.
But that's just one I can think of offhand. I think it's like one of
I
the
remember. I remember there was a Superman story from that time period too, where he was dealing with some some corrupt construction company where they were
and he went
using
and destroyed the whole neighborhood.
inferior materials to build houses, and he just completely destroyed. Like there's a well, no, I'm thinking of two different stories, I guess. But
Yeah, the one that I was talking about throwing the guy up and all that. That's the first in Action Comics #1. And I remember that because when I first read that, I was like, "Whoa, what the heck!" I never thought I'd see something like this out of Superman.
Yeah. Well, the thing
But
is, one of the okay, hold on. Hold on, sorry. Apparently, I guess they didn't turn this on, so I gotta do this. No wonder it wasn't shown as much, but all right, there we go. Anyways, so basically though, but there was one where I do remember Superman, where there
Yeah,
was a whole bunch of dilapidated housing.
and
Yeah,
he demolished the whole area and had them rebuild it and all that,
right. So,
with
so
or
yeah,
forced the city to rebuild it or whatever. Again, it's there's definitely some morally gray stuff back then. Um, or they had, or what would be probably more considered morally gray today. Back then, it was I'm not sure what it was thought of, what would have been thought of something like that, suggestions like that back then. But anyways, we should get on with the story.
yeah,
This is an interesting conversation, but it could take over the whole
right.
thing.
Hmm. I'll show that copper. He can't be a party to the destruction of private property. Uh, huh. By the time I'm through, they'll be hunted by the law. Hmm. Roddy's here. Roddy's where's where? Here's where I begin. Where's Roddy, Skeets?
Hello, Simmons. He's in his office. Go right in.
Hello, Roddy. Hello, Roddy.
Oi, it's you. Well, what's biting you, Simmons?
Some loony doc is going to burn down my string of houses on account of some disease, and the torch.
He's helping him. Good. Those holes should have been wrecked years ago.
But by paying you to pull strings, they won't be. Here's $50,000. Start pulling strings to stop the dock and break the torch off the force.
Oh, 50 grand. Now that seems ridiculous, in my opinion. There is no way that he's getting 50 G's worth of rent out of those buildings in a year back then.
Well, again, some of these people were pretty corrupt back then, so you never know.
Yeah, but rents back then were, you're talking the 40s. Rents were not even $100 a month. And yeah, I'm not sure how many people he'd have staying in those buildings, but to it is probably more like $50 a month. You
But we
know,
also, I don't know, because let's see, let me go back, see just how big that building.
it doesn't really show.
I mean, that building does, from what little we can see, it does look like it might be a pretty big building. If that is the case, you know,
Probably,
if there's enough room in there and enough people are paying rent, then yeah, it could possibly be because, you know,
yeah. But okay, look, we have the stairway in. It looks like there might be one or two apartments on either side. Go right down, right there. There could be one or two apartments on either side of the stairwell because there's two windows. Each one could represent two apartments, possibly, but it's easy that they could represent one as well. So we'll say four apartments, most likely, maybe a bit more on the first floor. You might have the same. You probably have the same on the second, and they
well,
didn't have the high rises we
yeah,
did.
we're also in a 3D view here. We're only seeing one side of the building here.
Yeah,
You know,
we're not seeing
it
how
could,
far go back. Yeah, but I'm
we're not seeing how
assuming.
far it goes back or how high up it goes. So I mean, for all we
Yeah,
know, there could Okay, so let's say that rent is $50 there. Okay,
Yeah,
so 50. Let's say that, well, 50 times. So 50 times.
I was assuming one apartment on either side of the stairs, right? So I was assuming four
One to
apartments on
two,
each
yeah.
floor.
Right.
I was assuming four apartments on each floor. It'd probably be a max of. It could be more than five floors, but they didn't really have a lot of high rises back in the 40s.
Mhm.
From what I know, I
But
could be
five
wrong about
floors
that.
wouldn't necessarily be a high rise, though.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that's why I'm thinking low rise. Five floors. You know, if it goes more than five floors,
Four rooms at 5 floors. It's 20 rooms. Let's say $50 a month. So that's $1,000 right there a month. If he saves out his money and he makes other investments too, right? That's it. And who's this? And
yeah,
think about this too. We're only talking about what now. He said that there's a block of houses, right?
yeah. Well, I think he said like
Okay, so
three.
let's say that there's 20 rooms here. Let's say there are like five or six. So you're talking about 50 grand, right? So let's say
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
particular
That's 12 grand a year.
so okay, let's say he owns an entire block house, which is basically what they're indicating there in the dialogue. Okay,
Well, let's see.
what they're
Let's go
indicating in
down a
the
bit.
dialogue,
Let's
he
see.
owns a block of houses. So let's say 20 rooms per building. Let's say like at maybe what?
And hi, Fitzjozo.
At maybe 10, 10, 10, 10 buildings a block. Okay, so
Yeah, that'd be
you got
120 grand a year.
huh?
We'll say. We'll say they're all about the same. So we'll say about 120 grand a year.
So he could save that money up,
Oh yeah, yeah. But is it worth 50 grand? Just under half of what he's paying out for, uh, you know, a year? I don't know.
yeah.
It just seems a little high to me. Anyways, I guess that's what my main point is. I thought it was a little high, but
And that you,
anyways,
you don't think he is making that kind of gas, basically what you're saying.
yeah, not
But
to support the
remember,
other
he's
people.
a businessman. This could be just one business that he, again, he
Yeah,
could. We don't know how many actual buildings he owns. Does he
yeah,
own more I mean, he could if he owns a whole bunch of properties. You
yeah.
know, he could
It's just
he could be somebody like a Donald Trump who has a whole bunch of real estate all over the place. And
yeah, but we're talking in one spot. So yeah, okay, maybe he's got 50 grand from all his properties all over the thing. But is it worth 50 grand to support this one spot to put out that money? Is he making enough back from it? Would he make enough back from it to make it actually worthwhile? And like you said, we don't really know. We're really getting hypothetical.
yeah,
We're getting really off talking.
yeah.
Uh,
Let's get back to the story here.
yeah. So I think we're in the middle panel.
Yeah.
Okay, Shims, it's a deal. I'll take care of everything.
I'll be seeing you, Ronnie.
Ah, JB, this is Roddy. Yes, I've got a job for you. Stop squirming,
I think that's
squawk,
squawking.
squawking. You'll get your cut. Now listen.
Let's see. Later, the results of Roddy's call is felt at police headquarters. Listen, men, the torch has taken the law into his own hands. He's burning the slums. But isn't that where the plague is at its worst? Yes, but my orders are to bring him in on a charge of arson. You'll find asbestos suits and air pressure guns to fight the torch in the locker room. That's all. I don't like this job, Casey. Hunting down a fellow officer. Orders are orders, Tom. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you go ahead and do that guy because I think I took all the roles right there.
Oh, which one? You
Well,
want me to
the guy in the redhead here, but
the
he's
one
the
at the
first
front?
guy talk. He's the first guy talking in the second panel.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, but the torch is helping to stop the spread of the plague, and we've got to bring them in.
I know, and it smells like Roddy's work.
That small time politician. If I could prove.
Oh wait. I think that's me in this.
Yeah.
Okay. That small time politician. If I could prove he pulled strings.
But you can't. Golly, look. The whole block is a burning mess. And hello, Fitzchozo. Fitzchozo's here. Been here for about 6 minutes. And there's
hello.
And there's our man. He's alone.
Up with your hands. Casey, Tom, have you both gone mad?
Sorry, Torch. We've our orders. Where's Dr. Stone?
While people die, you chant orders. Well, try and get me. As for the doc, he's needed here, and that's where he'll stay. In a flash, the torch turns on his flame, and the officers threaten to use his air pressure gun. Air gun, huh? Wow. How's this?
It's melting.
But other asbestos-clad policemen close in and open fire. Those guns are subduing my flame. My flame is out. Okay, fellows, come catch me.
He's going inside that burning building house. After him.
Inside, out of the air gun's range, the torch's flame comes to life.
Do you see him?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you see him?
No, nope. The flames and the torch are the same color. We can't see him. I could melt their glass eye protectors and blind them. But they're my fellow officers, acting on their superiors' orders.
There it goes, towards the roof.
This is one place they can't follow me. The stairs are completely burned. Uh-oh. There's Dr. Stone.
Is that okay?
That's Dr. Stone. Torch, come down. What's up, Doc? Plenty. The plague is spreading too fast to control it. If we don't confine it to this area, it'll spread to the entire nation. Can't you do something? I'll do even better. I'll bring the medical aid you need so badly.
Spread to the nation. That's a little thing. How about the city first? The rest of the city.
But how? Haven't time to explain, but get every person out of the infected buildings and center them in a 10-block area. Hurry. All right, but I don't get it. You will. So, moving high on the houses, the torch makes a wide circle of flame. Look, the flames are dropping over the buildings like a lasso.
The torch is diving down fast.
With increasing speed, the torch crashes through and melts the houses around the condemned area. It worked. The flames landed on the edge of the wrecked houses, a perfect barricade to stop the plague from spreading.
Yeah, except for the people that have it.
Let's see. Flipping his cupping his hands over his mouth, the torch bellows an order to the circle of fire. You'll not spread, but remain as you are.
Yes, the
Then,
fire is sentient.
then looping this time, and diving, the flame, a flame master, writes a message of fire in the sky. This area is quarantined. Do not try to enter. Blazing barricade. The torch. Now to get medical aid. A sudden drop, and the torch melts his way into the Civic Center Hospital. You want to do the other doctor right there?
Yeah. What? The torch?
Dr. Stone needs help.
But the law is after Stone and you. It would be criminal on our part to give any assistance.
Criminal? You are doctors pledged to help save human lives. An epidemic threatens the nation, but one man, Dr. Stone, tries to fight it despite any man-made laws. Yet you, his colleagues, quibble about cockeyed ethics. He needs you. Well, what do you say?
You win, Torch. Lead the way. Threatens the nation. How about it threatens the city?
Well, I think Carl here was maybe using a little hyperbole to try to get his point across.
Yeah. Just little too bringing it on strong. But anyway, go ahead.
1 hour later, an ambulance corps jammed with supplies and doctors speeds toward the stricken area.
He jumped out of the door.
We're near the barricade. Don't stop. Follow me.
No, he's crazy. Those flames will look. They parted as he neared them. Oh, he's melting right through them. The buildings he wrecked. Is it wide enough for 2 trucks?
Oh, actually.
Well, the path he's cut is wide enough for 2 trucks.
With the vehicles inside, the torch closes the gap and again covers it with flames. Torch, you did it. At first, I thought you were boasting. How are things, Dr. Stone? Fine. Even the officers who tried to capture us pitched in and helped once they saw the barricade. Good. Wonder what became of Simmons. Look, police planes coming this way. The plane swooped down over the barricade, releasing a chemical spray on the flames.
So the Torch thought he could keep the law out.
That spray certainly can put a fire out. The fools, if they put the fire out, they'll help spread the plague. I've got to stop them. No, Torch, wait. Let go, Stone. But that spray they're using is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Snow. Your flame is useless. I know that, but we must get those planes away from the barricade. You're the guys in the plane there.
Oh yeah, it's the Torch.
Come on, suckers, chase me. Flying high over the flames, the Torch whirls and shoots down.
Fitzjoseph says dry ice.
Is that, I guess, what carbon dioxide snow is dry ice?
Yeah, I guess so. That stuff has put my flame out.
Well, hold on. I didn't get to.
Sorry. I thought you had.
But the second police plane races across and lets loose a blast of carbon dioxide snow. Now,
that stuff has put out my flame out. I'm falling.
Reaching out. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Reaching out, the Torch grabs onto the cockpit of the plane below. Ha! It's lucky you were below me.
And then Fitzjoseph says yes about the dry carbon dioxide being dry ice.
Yeah. Inside the second plane, as long as the Torch's skin is drenched with the snow, he can't put his flame on. And so he can't melt bullets. He's using his machine guns. He's using his machine guns. You'd better bail out. No need for you to get hurt. So long.
What a crazy other pilot. He's willing to shoot down this one just to get at the flame. Or the
Before the Torch can maneuver into position, a second burst of fire finds its mark. You want to be the other?
Got him!
My arm! The Torch's plane goes out of control, diving easily downward.
Blazes! He's coming straight at me. My controls are frozen. I'd better bail out.
Suicide attack! Look at that! Crash! As both planes burst into the flame, the heat dries the Torch's skin, and he leaps clear of the wreckage. That's funny. My body is blazing, all except my wounded arm. The Torch lands inside the barricade. What's the matter with your arm? Wounded, but I can't understand why it won't burn. Um, Doctor Stone. Hmm. It will when it heals. Now hold still while I bandage it. By the way, where's your friend Reed? He's making he's make he's making a round of the houses to see if there are any more victims of the plague. Meanwhile, somewhere inside the barricade, I paid you 50 grand to put away Stone and the torch, and you haven't done it.
Come on. The torch is a tough customer.
What? What? Hey, everything is going black. I feel kind of funny.
Huh? Perfect timing. The plague must have got him just when he was about to plug me. Now you won't have any use for the rod. Guess I'll hold on to it. Someone's knocking. Hey, I think the plague's got me too. My voice is failing.
The door opens, and Dr. Stone's friend, Reed, opens.
Blaze, blazing snakes. Two more victims, huh? One of them is Simmons. Dr. Stone ought to be interested in this find.
There's Reed, Dr. Stone. What's up?
There's a surprise for you, Doc.
Getting a little sleepy there, Rick?
I'm not sure whether sleepy or what, but
Oh, wait. Do you guys have
yes, we
daylight
have.
saving counted as well?
Yeah, our clocks went back an hour this morning as well.
All right. It's Simmons and a pal of his. Get a serum needle ready. You mean you're going to try and save them?
That was
Oh wait,
me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was you. I'm sorry.
You
Go ahead.
mean you're gonna try and save him?
Too late. Too late, Doc. Simmons is already dead. That's too bad. We'll try his friend.
No use, Doc. It got me. Two. Is the torch with you? I'm blind. I want to tell him something.
Here he is. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Watch out for JB, the person behind the rackets. JB, JB.
Hey, you can't pass out now. He's dead. Now who in the blazes is JB? Follow the Human Torch as he gets on the trail of the mysterious JB in the next issue of Marvel Comics. So,
Yeah.
overall impressions of that story, Rick?
I guess it was all right. To me, it lacked a little something. He's still like there was a lot of, as I said earlier, a lot of gray area. For me, the bad guy wasn't really a bad guy. He was just, trying to protect his property. Is he a slumlord? Possibly. We don't know. We don't know what went into how he kept his places. We know, yeah, the Black Plague is there, but you know, is anybody look? We never saw. Did anybody look into another way of making sure his buildings were all right, might be right, safe or whatever? So you know, it was very ambiguous, to figure out who is right or wrong, and maybe that's been done by design or maybe not. It's hard to tell with this story. Are you there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm here. I went off screen for a moment because I was doing something that don't
Yeah, no
know if
problem.
everybody needed to see.
I was just,
Well, I think based on what we based on what we see, yeah, as a slumlord, he was the bad guy in this story. Even though I think this is another tale of the police being kind of forced to, to kind of, it's one of these cases where, if anything, the law was being used against the private, against not for the benefit of the private citizens, but against the private citizens, because
yeah.
you know,
Uh,
you know
there was no due process in this. If and I know it's a comic book, you don't really get a lot of due process in comic books. Like, and I get the writers or that of the time are trying to send a message, but you know, there's one thing for fighting the mugger, but trying to fight and even fighting slumlords, but the Black Plague is there. Supposedly, the Black Plague is there. That's what we're told it is. No way to confirm it or not. So there's been has there been any sort of confirmation? Like I'm not sure whether the
well,
CDC
remember,
would have been a thing back then or not.
well, Doctor Stone's a doctor, and he probably is confirmed. He probably confirmed that it was indeed the Black Plague. It's like,
Yeah, but he could be wrong too, right? We're not sure what he's basing that on either. Uh, if it's just a thing, unless it's lawyer comic book, which I've never heard of. There are comic books that I think they're more. You would find them more in Japan as a
well,
manga or whatever.
actually, there even in this time period, there were some comic book and comic stories that where
The main
you did
character
follow
was a lawyer.
lawyers and
Yeah,
police, and their events that didn't have like superior. So I mean, but you know, I think this was deemed an emergency situation, and they were going on the idea that if they didn't deal with this, they you also have to remember too. This is even before Miranda in the
yeah,
state. You know
yeah,
what Miranda is, Rick.
yeah. You have the right to remain silent and all that.
Right.
So
The
yeah,
Miranda rights,
definitely.
which
Like
wasn't Miranda was not even established until 1959. So this is
yeah,
like almost 20 years. Well,
yeah.
19
So
now.
there's stuff that I don't know about what the law would be back then in a time like this and the government and all that. We unfortunately, I don't think either of us knows enough about the time period for the law and the government and what everybody was supposed to be doing or what.
Now, some people
But
might argue that just because something's legal doesn't necessarily mean it's right.
yeah, there's that too. But the thing is, these guys, it just seemed like the the initial doctor was taking the law into his own hands. And that's sort of
Well,
what
it
comic
was an
books
imminent
are.
danger situation because the plague would have spread. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, and how much was it spreading? What we're not seeing the whole reaction to the quote unquote spread. Only one doctor's there fighting the plague. I doubt it, even back then. But
Mhm.
and is it are they quarantining the patients or whatever they did? I think even back then they did have triage to put all the people that are infected over here. Wouldn't they be going to hospitals or whatever? How is it? I don't know a lot
Well,
about
you know
that.
that, but you did notice that the torch did bring medical help to
Yeah,
them. It's
yeah.
like,
Well, that
and
could have probably been done.
even Torch pointed out to the very doctors that regardless of the laws or whatever, they're still kind of oath bound to
Yeah,
treat anybody who's sick. It's like,
yeah.
um,
My thing is too, wouldn't the people that were infected by the Black Plague been brought to the hospital already? You would think, unless like I'm not sure whether
Well,
this.
it may have just been something they just determined. It may have just been something. He may have just maybe what was going on here is Dr. Stone was triaging them. This is a triage situation, and when he realized what happened, he felt he needed to take action right then and there, and that was to burn down the buildings.
Yeah, so he never let no process take place. Comic books are about vigilante justice, and in a sense, that's what he's doing, a bit of vigilante justice, but it seems a bit over the top, in my opinion. But I'm not sure what the story in some ways is all right, but I think they took on more than what they should have for this issue or for this story to deal with it. I think there's too many unanswered questions. But then again, it's a comic book of its day. They didn't answer a lot of these type of questions.
And if you remember too, there was a lot of moral ambiguity in a lot of these earlier comics too. I mean, we talked about it earlier. We've seen it, Superman, Batman. Throughout there was a lot of moral ambiguity. It's like you did oftentimes, because of like the idea, the corrupt nature of some of the politicians and all that in some of these stories. It was kind of like
like I don't really see the Torch being the hero in this. I don't see him as bad as Namor in the first Namor thing, but I just see him as a little misguided.
This is one of those things where it's one of those stories that brings up the debate, and it's a debate I've alluded to on other issues before, namely the whole age of consent issue. Where oftentimes we have a tendency to conflate legality and morality, right?
Yeah.
As I said a few minutes, just because something's legal doesn't necessarily mean it's right or moral. In this particular case, this is a. I guess some people might argue this might be a clear example where, the law may have been on the slumlord's side, but from a moral standpoint, he's still wrong. He's still, he's still the bad guy here, despite the fact,
there was. I guess there's the thing. No due process had even been done. This guy, this doctor, saying, "Oh, the Black Plague's here."
Well, he may have determined that, and in that situation, there is no due process. It's an emergency situation. Okay? It's like. Let me ask you. Okay, here's some, Rick. Okay, here's something to take into consideration. Okay, so you're renting a house from somebody, right? You're renting a house from somebody. Somehow the house that you're living in, that you're renting, catches fire. Okay, it catches fire. You're stuck in there. Are you gonna want to, are you gonna want somebody to come and put out that fire? Or are you gonna want to wait for them to have to ask permission of the owner to put out the fire of the house? Or,
Well, it's a little bit different situation. And I say that because the fire will burn the place to the ground right away. The black, a virus, yes, it can spread very fast.
But if it's the Black Plague, as they said, that thing kills pretty fast. It's an emergency situation.
Yeah, but it doesn't even
have due process in an emergency situation.
Yeah, but it didn't kill as bad as fast as a fire would burn down a house. The Black Plague killed thousands or maybe even millions back in the Middle Ages, right? When they didn't, and they ended up, in trying to fight it, they killed off the thing that would. The rats were the thing that were spreading it, and they were killing the cats. which would have taken out the rats. Um, in the Middle Ages, it's not going to spread so fast that you can't go get, okay, let's quarantine this area. Let's nobody in or out, and like I said, I'm not sure whether there's a CDC back then.
Namor was always meant to be a villain outright. I don't know. I don't think he was. I don't agree with that statement because I think,
I'm not even sure.
From that perspective, he was a monarch looking out for his own people, and that was his.
I'm not sure. I would not even sure. Although, in the first story we read about Namor, I said he was an outright villain. I'm not even sure with me having said that statement from reading the first story that I would even agree that he was meant to be that. But that's beside the point. But there could be some due process. Like a fire. If you like places on fire, it needs to be put out, and it said that we have regulations because places that go on fire. Oh, somebody calls the fire department. They come, they put out the fire, and then they do a lot of rigmarole to find out how the fire got started. These guys just wanted to start burning down buildings without not even a controlled fire. Fire department could do a controlled fire or whatever, because this guy starts setting buildings on fire. Who's to say a building that's not affected by the Black Plague doesn't start to get on fire?
Hold on, Rick, hold on a second. Okay, so Fitzo's saying Stan Lee wrote Namor as a villain, except Stan Lee was not the one who originally created Namor. It was actually Bill Everett.
Yeah,
and even when Stan Lee may have presented him more as a villain from the perspective of the surface dwellers, but I think the underlying thing was Namor was always Atlantis first.
Yeah,
and any threat he perceived for Atlantis was the enemy. And from the surface dweller's perspective, yeah, he would have been a villain because
Fitzjozo, with his next part of the statement, does qualify what he said. That was later, though, that Stan Lee wrote Namor as a villain. But Namor first appeared, 1939? Was it that we read him in, or 1940?
Yeah,
the first comic. And we read the first story here about a year ago or so, around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And in reading that story, Stan Lee had nothing to do with it. Right. I concluded that I said he was like an outright villain. A villain got the main story, where this was a time that the villain usually wasn't the one getting the the main thing. No,
that's not entirely true either, because it was because a Human Torch here was in that same issue, and he was first up. No, Stan Lee wasn't quite a little kid. He was already a young adult. But he wasn't in the position that he would be later. He was
a copy boy. I think we found out at this point.
Yeah, he was a copy boy. So he wasn't a child per se. He was more maybe late teens, like he was late teens, early 20s, around there. He's probably somewhere between like 16 and 21, if I had to guess.
He was born in 1922. So he would have been 1940.
You were in 17 or 18, around there.
He would have been 18. He would have turned 18 in late 1940.
Yeah. So, and then he went off to World War II, like a number of people did, and then came back.
I wouldn't say Namor was their very first character, because they had several characters in that issue, Marvel Comics.
Well, in a way, you could argue that Human Torch kind of predates him by one story there, because Human Torch was the lead feature in that same book. These two are, you have to remember, Human Torch and Namor were the first two
Well,
Oh, I
they
didn't
would put him
know
in the main.
Stan was that old.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. So yeah, there were several characters in that book, several stories in Marvel Comics #1. Um, we didn't read all of them when we went through that a while back. Um, but it's an interesting discussion we're having here. But it is 9 o'clock. I think we want to get on to another
Yeah,
story.
we probably should. Yeah,
Yeah, because we
but
can
I
go
think
back and
at this
forth on
point
this for
I think at this point
hours.
we can just agree to disagree on this particular issue.
Yeah. I was, you asked me my thoughts. I was just saying my
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah.
And,
I got too caught up in the discussion and the debate, so
yeah, same
that's
here.
on me a bit
Uh,
too.
and while you're getting the next story ready, I'm going to go grab something to
Well,
drink.
all I had to do is just come down.
Okay, well, I'll be like 30 seconds if that.
All right. So how's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully everybody's enjoying the story and enjoying the discussion we had. That was quite an interesting little discussion there that we are having there. Hmm.
Okay, I'm back, as you can see.
I think in terms of Submariner here, though, I think it's more accurate to say he wasn't necessarily a villain. He's more of an anti-hero,
Yeah,
probably.
well, the anti-hero, I don't think the term anti-hero had been invented yet for this
No.
time. It wasn't even invented when I think Punisher was first out.
I thought Stan Lee was much younger in the 60s. Well, I mean, he was already fairly old in the 80s and 90s when he was making his appearance on some of the.
Well, you got to remember, Fitzgerald, we're not dealing with the 60s right now. We're dealing with the 40s. That's when these characters, Submariner and Human Torch, this Human Torch is not Johnny Storm. It's an android, and they were both created in like 1940, 1939. I forget
Yeah, this
exactly when.
Human Torch was created by Carl Burgos, and then Submariner here was, of course, created by Bill Everett. So, as we're going to get into that now. The Submariner by Bill Everett. Namor has returned to his home in the
Just making sure Rich shows up.
in the Antarctic. While he was doing penance for his failure to conquer the American race, one Luther Robinson, American adventurer, set out after him in a super yacht, newly
Heavily,
huh
heavily armed.
heavily armed and bearing a well seasoned crew. After the first skirmish,
Skirmish.
Namor is defeated and forced back to the protection of his iceberg home. We find him there now.
Fitzgerald says, American race. How are white people the American race? Well, I wouldn't say yes, there's definitely a lot of white people in America, but I wouldn't even go with that.
I
Would just
think in
be
this case, it might have just been the term they were using. I mean, I think that might have
yeah.
just been the term that Everett decided to use. I think basically the idea was Namor and the Atlanteans were going to war with America.
So it should have said American people or American nation, not race. They're convoluting the term. Well, in our dialogue today, they're convoluting the term. Maybe it meant the word race meant a little something different in that term back then. I know words have changed a little bit of meaning over time.
Which
So
yeah.
we've discussed before. So we can. I had a little bit of a thought on that too before Fitzjozo said it. I wasn't going to say anything, but since Fitzjozo said something about it, I figured I'd pipe up into. Anyways, they should be on with.
Right. These Americans think they're so clever. They gave me a run for my money, but I'll have their hides yet. I've sworn my revenge before, but this time I mean business.
And you
And on
didn't
the super
before.
yacht, and on the super yacht, and I'll let you do both of those guys.
I want to organize a landing party, Mister Martin. Would you call for volunteers? All hands on deck. Men, I'm going to keep going to that iceberg to get the submariner, dead or alive. How many of you will volunteer to go with me?
I will, sir.
Me too.
Here, sir.
Easy, boys. Watch the ice. Boys, and not far to go now.
You are both the captain and the
Okay.
mate there.
This'll be dangerous. This'll be dangerous, Mr. Robinson. No telling how many of them queer looking fishmen will be waiting for us there. And of course, there's a term that's we're just talking about words changing meaning over time. Queer, of course, did not mean homosexual back this time. It just meant weird.
Right. And we've talked about that several times. I brought that point up several times, throughout our coverage over
It
there.
meant, yeah, weird, peculiar, unusual. This ice is plenty slippery, lads. Watch your step and keep your eyes open for an ambush. Hold it, men. There's someone up ahead.
Hola! Look, the white fools have come ashore. After them! Yahoo! Kill! The Americans are quickly subdued. No, do not kill him. Tama, do not kill him, Tama. I think the Emperor may wish to see him. You can do Tama right there.
Perhaps you're right.
Luther Robinson. Oh.
Fitzjoseph says, "What a queer light." Alan Scott in his origin. Yeah, so what a weird light.
Luther Robinson and the only other remaining member of the landing party are forced to climb high up a narrow trail of the iceberg until they suddenly come upon two armed submariners guarding what looks like a cave, but which actually is the entrance to a magnificently sculpted hall of ice, the Emperor's assembly. The two captives are placed in a pit before the throne, and the Emperor arrives to question them. I think the Emperor is a little different from Namor there.
Yeah. You want me to do them?
Yeah.
So, you are the stupid white men who are trying to kill us off. Well, my fine idiots, you see just how far you can get. God's fetch, Namor.
A moment later, you sent for me, O Holy One? What? Who is that? Oh, so it's you, the American. You dirty swine! I'll break your skull, you interloper!
Namor, gods, seize him!
Quickly, the guards leap on the submariner, tearing him away from Robinson.
Throw him out! The cursed fool! What's the matter with him? He nearly killed the prisoner before I could ask any questions. Now, my friend, you can see how fortunate you are to have escaped the full force of Namor's wrath. Tell me what prompted you to come to Antarctica to destroy us.
Meanwhile, in his private room, confound it, what am I to do now? I've got to get rid of those meddlesome Americans. I know. I'll see my cousin Dorna, Dorma. She may have some ideas.
And I must say, Namor's out is quite interesting. Well, before he takes it off to go in the water,
Quite
he
a
almost looks like
colorful
a
race there,
jester.
yes, huh? The next morning, Namor, clad in trunks, dives through the ice, dives through a hole in the ice floor of his room, and dives down through the cold water to the bottom of the sea. A moment later, he arrives at a barnacled wooden door at the base of the iceberg. The door is opened by Dorma or
Dorma.
Dorma. Namor, what brings you here? Hello, Dorma. I need help. The Emperor won't let me have a free hand, so I've got to destroy these Americans without his knowing it. I don't know just how I'll go about it. It go about it. I sort of hoped you'd be able to help me. Got any ideas? Ideas? Well, I don't know, Namor. Let's see. Robinson's been captured, and 9 of his landing crew were killed. That still leaves a couple of dozen men and a girl on the yacht. Why not sneak aboard and blow it up with one of their own death bombs? Good idea, Dorma. Come along. You can give me a hand. I'm ready. Let's go. Easy now. It's still early, but there'll be a couple of watchmen on deck somewhere. Namor and Dorma leave the water and dart up to the yacht's deck on winged feet. Namor, there's no use in killing the girl, too. Why don't we just take her back to the castle? Then, if the Emperor still wants them all done away with, she can at least die with her Sweetheart Robinson. All right, Dorma. I guess we can do that. Oh, what do you want? Here she comes, Dorma. You take her to the castle, and I'll finish the rest of the job. Yow! Quiet, little fool. A moment later, Dorma leaps into the water with um, with Lynn Harris. Don't worry, my pretty little dumbbell. You'll be with your boyfriend in no time at all. Dumbbell. She calls her a dumbbell.
Yeah, like would she know what a dumbbell is? Do they have weights in Atlantis or wherever Namor's thing is? He's supposed to rule Atlantis, right? So,
Yeah. Well, they're in the Antarctic, but yeah, they're originally from Atlantis. The splash attracts the attention of the Watchman. Go ahead and do the Watchman.
hello, what's that?
And quickly gives an alarm, blasting on his um, bosun's pipe. The let's see.
The men below.
The men below swarm excitedly on the deck, but Namor is warned by the clamor and runs to the Hubbard deck.
Um,
Might have known this would happen. I'll fix them yet.
and here I thought he would have been warned by the whistle as well.
Hmm. With this in my hands, I'll give them something to think about. But the crew is hot after him, and suddenly one of them raises a submachine gun.
There he is, boys. Let him have it.
Actually, I think he's yelling that part.
There he is, boys. Let him have it.
But the bullets ricochet harmlessly off Submariner's steel like hide. Ha, fools! Don't you know that'll do you no good? Then, grasping pontoon of the seaplane, he rips it from the catapult and leaps into the sea. So these devils want to play tag with machine guns, huh? Sliding into the cockpit, Namor guns the ship and swings her nose and around, facing the yacht's broadside. Well, we'll give them a taste of their own medicine. Both machine guns blazing, throttles all the way back, and the little plane whips into the air over the yacht. Slicing close to the deck, he riddles it with death-dealing pellets, then banks sharply and climbs to roar away toward the castle. A few moments later, he sets the seaplane down on open water in a little natural cove formed by the walls of the iceberg palace. That ought to hold them for a few minutes. Now, to hide this ship and He mocks the plane, or he moors the plane, and dives into the water. Get back to the yacht. Only way I can. Only way I can. Oh, were you about to say something, Rick?
Yeah, he said, "Get back to the yacht again."
Again, yeah. Only way I can board it now without being seen is to climb the anchor chain and go through the chain locker. This is risky, but there's no other way. They won't expect me back so soon. Anyway, this will be my last trip. Inside the yacht, so far so good. Now to find the arsenal and a nice juicy death bomb. Looks like I'd find one in here. Da- uh, danger, um, or phonics or whatever. Hmm. Good, good. This is almost too easy. I'll find a strategic position for it and get away before it explodes. 10 minutes later, what a break. No one saw me. I'll give that bomb about 3 more minutes. Boom! There she goes.
There she blows.
Slowly and sadly, the beautiful yacht um, goes under, or noses under. Too bad, but I had no choice. In the meantime, Dorma orders the unconscious American girl um, through the uh,
Yeah, through the halls.
through the halls of the ice castle to her own chamber. Good grief! The girl's nearly frozen to death. I'll have to get the doctor for her.
Well, what do you expect when you bring her into ice cold water?
You can be the doctor there.
Yeah. She'll be all right in a few hours, princess.
Good. Later in the day, well, young lady, how do you feel? You'll have to be pretty quiet for a few days, and don't try to escape unless you want to die. While in another part of the castle, this is the cell where Robinson is, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you
Oh,
didn't.
I'm
You
sorry. I
can't forget
forgot.
the wall.
I forgot. I forgot. There's a okay. I didn't see this before because I didn't look down. But Lynn, now conscious, is told that she is a prisoner. Okay. While in another part of the castle, this is the cell where Robinson is, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, Robinson, we meet again. I just want to tell you that we have your girl here, but your yacht is at the bottom of the sea, and all your men are lost.
Why you?
Face it. Take it easy. You'll get a fair trial before the emperor for the emperor's council. But if you try anything funny, we have some very original and intricate ways of torturing your sweetheart. So you'd better behave. Now, I'll leave you, but I'll see you later in court.
You dirty, no good killer. You'll never get away with this. Mickey, we gotta get out of here. Somehow. Come on. I think I've got an idea.
You and Mickey as well there.
Okay, boss. Same. I'm game for anything.
With a pocket knife and a sharp edge of the cover of Robinson's um, watch case, the two men start digging into the walls of their prison.
Come on,
By the,
boss. We're through.
oh, hold on,
No.
there was narration here.
Oh,
By the
sorry.
following morning, their diligent efforts are rewarded, and they climb through a jagged hole. Kind of reminds me of Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
I hope you ever
Thank
saw
you.
that movie or not.
Oh, yeah. Digging through the walls. But there's only one thing. These walls are made of ice and snow. Who's not going to think about digging through these? In Shawshank Redemption, they were concrete.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah. Come on,
go.
boss. We're through. Nice work, Mickey. Now that we're out of our cell, we still have to find Lynn. Once we've released her, we'll have to figure out some way of getting back out of the iceberg and back to the States. That isn't going to be easy.
Let's see. After 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 searching many corridors,
We're bound to find her, but here, find her, boss. I think this is it, Mickey. Lynn, at last, quick, wrap yourself in a couple of blankets and come with us. We're getting out of this place.
Luther and Mickey, how did you get here?
I can't understand why your room wasn't guarded or locked.
Probably because they thought I was too badly affected by the cold to try to escape.
Look, boss. Holy smokes, the plane. What luck.
And back at the castle, a guard rushes to Namor's chambers.
Prince Namor, the Americans have escaped.
What? So they did. I didn't think the fools had the courage. Now let's see if they followed my plan. Oh, I wonder if he kind of knew. I wonder if he kind of knew something was up or something like that.
Well, Namor is a little bit foolish there, like didn't think they'd have the courage. They came all the way there, they did all the thing. They defeated him once. I think they got enough courage.
At the cove, Luther and Lynn have crowded into the cockpit, while Mickey um, crouches back in the tiny compartment behind the seat cushion.
Now, if this baby only has enough fuel to get us to civilization, we'll be all set. We don't freeze to death.
And they soar into the sky as Namor arrives. Good, just as I planned. Good luck, Americans. I don't want to torture the girl, and the Emperor surely would have had them all killed after he got the information he wanted. They'll not molest us again. They've had a taste of what the Submariner can do. Follow Namor's adventures in the next issue of Marvel Comics. Wow, so one of my impressions, and I'm going to ask you your overall impressions, but I wanted to make a point here. So here they wrote it like he was like a bad guy or like he was the anti or whatever. But I think his whole thing was to show them, hey, look, you don't want to start a war with us. You don't want to. and he
Yeah.
ended up sparing the cap, even though he killed his other men. He ended up sparing him, his first mate, and the girl. I
Well,
guess
three.
as a way of making it like a cautionary tale,
Yeah.
uh, cautionary tale of what happened when you mess with Atlantis. Your overall impressions, Rick?
Not too bad. Obviously, I think this one is better. Written. You know, it's a good Namor story for sure. Uh, you know, yeah, and like you said, I do think he was trying was fool a bunch of every people. I don't even think he really knew what his motives were all along. Yeah, he didn't really like the Americans, but he let them get away. It could be a tale either way. Like who's going to come after them if they survive? You know,
Hmm.
or if they didn't survive because they wouldn't even know that they needed rescuing. And I'm not sure whether this guy was from the government or not, or whether he was just doing it on his own. I don't think it, at least in this one, I don't think it let you know quite that well whether it was government sanctioned or just some, you know, guy with a who had a bunch of money.
Hmm.
But yeah, letting them live, definitely it's, a good. I think good because then they go back and say, hey, these guys took us down in one swipe, but it's hard to say whether it's a good move or not. But yeah, kill everybody else. Just let three people survive.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, we're gonna move on to we're at the hour and a half mark, and I think we can get through the next two. The next two stories are significantly short. These two stories were like I think 12 pages. These are 12 and 10. The next two I think are like 8 and 6 or 6 and 6. So I think we'll get through the next two. Still be under 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a masked rider. So we're gonna read the Angel and Electro, or be the other. There's the original Kazar there. Oh, and I just double checked before. So the next open date I have is November 30th.
Yeah, I should be able to do that.
All right, I'll put you down for November 30th then.
So that's like 4 weeks from today.
Mm-hmm. Here you go. Here, the Angel by Paul Gustafson. The Angel by Paul Gustafson.
Hmm. Let's see. Fitzgerald just said, I don't know if it's still a meme to what the MCU did to Namor. I'm not sure what he means. I know they moved him made him Aztec instead of Antarctic and moved the Atlantis from, or from to the off of South America from Antarctic.
Hmm.
So
All
for
right.
the MCU. So I'm not sure what he means, but I don't know if it's still a meme to what the MCU did to Namor.
In saving four girls from being sacrificed by hideous ghouls in the Blue Ridge Mountain caverns, the ground suddenly falls from below the angel, and he plummets into the abyss. Miraculously, he manages to get hold of a jutting rock stopping his fall, but a few inches from from an underground stream of molten lava.
Oh, I think what Pichilda means is he says na more. In other words, how you pronounce it or how it's spelled.
No, it's always been
Yeah.
Namor, not Namor.
No, I think he means for the MCU
Um,
or the meme that they're like, no more, no more, no more Namor. Anyways,
that was close. That was the closest call I've ever had. As he climbs up the precipice, a huge shadow falls across the angel. Reeling suddenly, the angel is confronted with huge towering monsters moving about him.
now in that panel there, that last panel, he almost looks womanish in there.
Oh, because it almost looks like he got a little tail on the back of his head there. A little
Yeah, plus it looks the way that they did his body in that side view, it looks almost like the figure eight. Looks real skinny, you know. That's also the way they did the chest. Almost looks like they gave him breasts. It's unusual how they did that panel.
okay. Ever increasing in number, the weird creatures move move closer and closer to the angel, striking out at him with sharp, hideous claws. They're after me. All right, and it looks like my finish. I'll be hanged if I know what to do. Um, it would take an army to put down just one of them.
Luckily,
Yeah,
you're one army in yourself, Angel.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. You'll have to take me first. Uh, uh, realizing that his end has come, the angel strikes out recklessly, facing death in every move as he counterattacks. You haven't got me yet. The angel's cape catches on the claws um, of one of the monsters. A powerful hand closes about him, and in a few seconds, the angel falls limp.
and this is why Edna says no capes
Hmm. They're
from
bit,
The Incredibles. Edna designed Mr. Incredible's suit. He was running cape. She said no cape. The clock on his cape. So no capes.
hmm.
Anyways, okay.
Their victim caught in their grasp, the monsters strangely remain in their last active position, as if stricken by rigor mortis. Do you know what rigor mortis is, Rick?
Yeah, it's what happens to you when you die.
Basically, your
You're
body.
going all stiff.
Hours pass before the monsters of the subterranean world begin to move. Wonder if that's some kind of hibernation cycle they have or something like that.
I'm sure we'll find out.
Through a thick engulfing mist, they make their way to a narrow path along the side of a seemingly um, bottomless pit. The leader suddenly um, motions to the others and points ahead. Before them rises a monstrous city built on the side of the pit, building upon building, towers out of sight, above and below them. So more narration in this story than anything else.
Yes, it's seeming that way.
Yeah. Weird cries below through the mysterious world, below the crust of the earth, as the monsters enter their city. Proudly, the one carrying the angel shows him to the others gathering about him. A trap door is opened in the street, and the angel is dragged into a dark dungeon. Upon awakening, the angel finds himself being nursed by a beautiful girl dressed in the attire of ancient Greece. Understanding Greek, the angel is able to talk to the girl. How long have I been here? Many days. At times I thought you would not live. But you, how did you get here? You speak a language that has been dead for several thousand years, and you dress in the same manner. 4,000 years ago, these monsters punished our land until it was virtually annihilated. Finally, all the powers allied, and they were able to drive these monsters back into the core of the earth and seal their exit. In the turmoil, I was captured and managed to survive. 4,000 years? Seems incredible. Yes, but true. Here I can live until eternity without changing. But should I go out into the sunlight, I would become a skeleton in a moment. Well, not a very pleasant outlook on life, and no chance to escape from here. For you there is. Lady, it would take more than a man to escape from here. A lot more. Wait, I will help you. Your clothes are torn and ragged. Here is something you can wear. It belonged to Mercury, and wearing it, you will be able to fly faster than the most beautiful eagle. Well, there's no harm in trying, but how will I be able to fight these monsters so they won't follow me? You must tire them. You must tire them. Once you have done this, a state of paralysis falls over them, which takes hours to wear off. So that's what happened. That's what the rigor mortis was.
Yeah.
Which takes hours to wear off. How you will be able to do it, I do not know. Say, what's that noise about? A moment later, beams of sunlight pour through the small opening of the top of the dungeon. Sunlight. These monsters will do anything to reach its source. Once in it, they turn to destruction. Worse than worse than the greatest war would cause. You must stop them. You must. Okay, but I'm taking you with me. No, I will leave here also by another exit. Raising his arms, the angel forms up or zooms upward with lightning speed. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Say, I wonder what she meant by saying she was going to leave by another exit. Good heavens. Looking down, the angel sees the horrible remains of what was but a moment before a beautiful girl. The sun's rays turned her into a skeleton as soon as she stepped into them. You blood-curdling animal, you've caused her life to be nothing but a living death. You'll never do it again if it takes my last breath to see that you don't. His eyes, cold and sharp, the angel dives off the building, gaining momentum every second as he spreads as he as he screams for the monsters swarming near the beam of sunlight. Striking like a thunderbolt, the angel sends the monsters spiraling in every direction. Sorry, Rick, there wasn't. There was only two speaking parts here in narration.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
In a short time, the angel turns the city into a turmoil of terrorizing horror. Oh no, you're going down. Let's see. Striking at random, the angel sends monster after monster rumbling into the abyss. Suddenly, the walls of the subterranean hollow begin to tremble. Those monsters falling into the pit must have started an earthquake. Tons upon tons of rock crash downward upon the towering city of monsters, um, carrying its remains into the depths of the abyss. Zooming and zooming and zooming and deucing
Dodging.
zooming and dodging death at every moment. The angel soars higher and higher, nearing safety with every thrust of his powerful arms. The rays of light are getting less. The opening at the top must be closing. I hope I'm not too late. As the mountain caves in upon the small opening, the angel streaks through it, barely seconds before certain doom, and leaving behind him another of his terrifying adventures. Another episode of The Angel will appear in the next issue of Marvel Comics. All right, so this one was a little quicker. Overall impressions, Rick.
Not too bad. Unfortunately, I was falling asleep a little bit through it, if you couldn't tell. but
Well, I could hear you yawn. That's why it's just falling.
uh, but uh, it seemed pretty good. Pretty straightforward. From what I could tell, there was just a bunch of big monsters that captured him, and he had to fight them to get his freedom.
Yeah. Well,
So
we're at an hour. I was going to try to get through 4 stories, but we still got through 3. It's an
yeah,
hour 50 now. So,
but
and I know you seem to be getting a bit tired. So I think it might be a good time to start wrapping
yeah,
up. Um,
yeah. And the reason we didn't get through 4 is because we talked a lot too much about the first one.
yeah, we probably would have got to the 4th story if we didn't get hung up on the whole thing going on with the Human Torch. All right,
Yeah,
so we did get through 3 features though tonight.
yeah.
So of course to wrap that portion of the show up here. Of the 3 features that we read tonight, which one did you like the best or made the best impression, and why?
Well, I think it's going to come to no surprise to people. The one that probably gave me the best impression was, surprisingly in some ways, from other nights with Marvel that I've been here, is Namor. I think although this one probably could have come close if I was awake a little bit more through it.
Hmm.
Um, but this one was a little bit too much narrative driven. But that's I think the Namor had enough dialogue and enough narration. Um, the story wasn't too convoluted. So of the 3, I'd say the Namor one made the best impression.
All right, and I have a feeling I already know the answer to this next question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Of the 2 remaining stories, which one did you like the least, and made the least or made the least impression, and why?
Well, it made an impression, just not in a good way. But yes, I think it's fairly obvious which one of these 3 that I was not very impressed with. And of course, that was the Human Torch one. And I'm not going to go delve into too much of reason why,
If we
because
start that up again, we'll be here all night.
yeah. I think the reasons are fairly clear from our earlier discussion
Yeah.
of the various things in it. It was very, shall we say, convoluted. I don't think some things made sense in the storyline. I don't think. Uh, I don't think it was a very good execution of that type of story in comics. Maybe it would have made better sense if I was living back in the time, but it doesn't translate very
Well,
well.
yeah, I think that again, it's a number of. I think the thing they were trying to do is they were trying to kind of
Yeah, I sort of get what they were
fix in
trying
on
to do, but
fix in on a debate of legality versus morality.
yeah,
I think that's where they were kind of going with it. Is
and
they were
they may
trying to
not.
create
They may
a debate of legality versus morality.
they
So,
might have had that in mind when they first did it. They might not have. They fortunately or unfortunately, they didn't get a lot into that sort of debate. I think back then in doing comics, they just wrote stories and they threw spaghetti on the wall and saw what stuck.
yeah.
And well, this did not stick, in my opinion.
Well,
But
I think
that
again though we're looking back on it from
yeah,
from like 80,
78.
80 years, 80, 85 years in the future. We're looking at it with our current sensibilities,
Yeah,
and not
and
taking
that's
into
why I'm
account
trying.
maybe at that time that was looked at as more appropriate. It's like
Yeah, and
back in
that's
those
why
times.
I try and qualify what I'm saying with that. Trying to give it some
Right.
grace based on the fact that I am looking at it from my eyes here, and maybe back then it was looked on a little differently. I don't know. I don't know
Think about
anybody
it,
that went back then.
yeah, think about it like this. Back then, if you had an issue with somebody, if some had an issue with somebody, the two of you would just slug it out and let the best man win in a fist fight, and that'd be over with. Today,
Yeah.
you see two guys try to do that now, they'd both be hauled off to jail.
Well, it depends on where you do it. You can still get away with that a little bit, but yeah, I get where you're coming from. Uh, so yeah, the one that made the least impression is obviously
Well, the one that you kind of like the
you-
least or whatever.
yeah, like I'm not going to say the name or story one. I think was written pretty good. Angel one, from what I got of it, was written pretty good. I do not think it wasn't even close, in my opinion. For
The worst, the
yeah,
worst, the one you like the least.
yeah, it's. I think it stuck out very much. I don't think the writing was all that good in it, but that's like I said. Me looking at it 85 years after it was written, maybe it would have been seen better if I was back then, but we can't tell. So let's stop beating the dead horse.
Yeah. All right. So with that, then, and we're
Shall we
done with the
go this
readings
weekend
tonight,
and Nietzsche history?
right? That's where I was going with it. So today, of course, is Sunday, November the 2nd, um, 2025. Oh, and I think I might have asked you this already. You guys have daylight saving time up there too? I think
Yeah, well, I think just like you in there, I think we have a couple places that don't do it here in Canada. I'm not sure exactly where, but here in Ontario, we do the whole daylight savings time.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's right. You're in Ontario now. I don't know if you're a baseball fan or not, but you
uh, I'm a fleeting one. You like, I do vote for the Jays. I just don't. I don't watch sports very often. I've been to some games. But it's been years since I've been to some
well,
games.
the Dodgers beat the Jays yesterday,
Yeah.
the World Series. So, anyways, with all that being said, okay, so today, as I said, is Sunday, November 2nd, 2025. So let's take a look back at this date or this weekend rather in Nietzsche history. History. So 2020.
And of course, we'll be looking back at yesterday, November the 1st,
Right. Uh huh.
because
All right.
it being 2 days that we cover on the weekends, on Sunday for the weekend.
All right. So first off, we're going to head back 60 years ago yesterday. And on yesterday's date,
60.
60 years ago, back in 1965.
You know what? It's crazy to think that I am only 8 years away from being 60.
Yeah. Well, I just turned 50 like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you're 10, so.
All right. So, anyways, so on this date, back in 19, or on yesterday's date rather, 60 years ago yesterday, Toei Animation's Hustle Punch premiered on Japanese television on yesterday's date, back in 1965. Let's see. The plot involves. Let's see. So, Hustle Punch is a Japanese adventure anime series created by Yasuji Mori and produced by Toei Animation. Its 26 episodes were aired on November 1st, 1965 to April 26th, 1966 on NET. So the plot involves the adventures of three friends: Punch, a bear; Touch, a mouse; and Bun, a weasel, who all live in a scrapyard by themselves. So that's Hustle Punch. So 60 years ago yesterday was the premiere of Hustle Punch from Toei Animation on NET on Japanese television. Now, with that being said, I'm getting ready to move on to next piece of Nietzsche history as we go back 40 years ago yesterday. On yesterday's date, 40 years ago,
I would have actually been alive for
mhm,
12 years.
yeah. So 40 years ago yesterday, uh, Rick McGraw, professional wrestler, passed away at the age of 30. He died of a heart attack. Rick McGraw was an American professional wrestler, best known for his appearances in the World Wrestling Federation under the ring name Quick Draw Rick McGraw. From
Rick
1980
Draw
until
McGraw.
from 1980 until his death in 1985, Rick was a wrestler at Elon College in 1973. Now he had basically been uh, he had been a wrestler throughout the southeastern portion. I mean, even before this, he wrestled in the Carolina.
Yeah, he
But
died young.
during his time in the Mid Atlantic area, um, during his time in the WWE, he was primarily an enhancement talent. Um, McGraw died of a heart attack on November 1st, 1985, shortly after Roddy Piper headlined a show held to benefit McGraw's family. Fellow professional wrestler Bret Hart noted in his biography that McGraw regularly consumed Placidil, and suggested that this resulted in his heart failing. He died
Okay.
of a heart attack, but they never. I did hear some of those stories that they said that they thought maybe he got involved in drugs, um, but yeah. The funny thing is that he actually made his because this is still a time when you know companies were recording their television programs like weeks in advance, like
Yeah.
2 weeks to a month in advance. So it was almost like 2 weeks prior to this that he actually did the television tapings. His last televised appearance was the following day after his death,
Oh,
recorded
wow.
on October 22nd on Superstars of Wrestling, where he was involved in a match with Roddy Piper, where it was set up during a previous segment of Roddy's Piper's Pit.
Uh,
Another little interesting tidbit there. All right, so that's for yesterday. Now for, of course, today.
today, what a fun day it is today.
Oh yeah. All right, so next off, as we let me first off clear this out. Going back I believe it's 70 years ago today. Yeah, 70 years ago today, back in 1955. On this date, 70 years ago today, in 1955, Tex Avery's Gold Diggers of 49, produced by Leon Schlesinger Productions. That was basically the animation company that it was a precursor to Warner Brothers cartoons. Leon
Uh,
Schlesinger Productions was at the time producing the cartoons for. Actually, I'm sorry, not 1955. This is 1935. So actually, 90 years ago today. 90 years ago today, in 1935, Tex Avery's Gold Diggers of 49, produced by Leon Schlesinger Productions, premieres. It's Avery's directorial debut for Warner's. It marks the start of the wackier style of comedy at Warner's animation studio. Now, mind you, Leon Schlesinger, as I was just saying, Leon Schlesinger production Productions was the animation studio that did they were the ones who originally created the Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies cartoons.
yeah.
And
I think they actually revamped this character back in the early thousands. Because I didn't know about this first version, but I'm pretty sure I remember a version of him coming out as like a new cartoon in like the either the 90s or the thousands. But I could be wrong.
of what? Of Tex Avery?
Yeah.
Oh, the wacky. You're probably thinking the wacky world of Tex Avery. I think. Is that what you're thinking of?
Uh,
Tex Avery was a legend in. I mean, he started with Warner's. He was, as they said here, he was the start of the until in 1942. He had a falling out with Leon Schlesinger, and moved on. Eventually, moved on to MGM. And Tex Avery was the guy who created Droopy from MGM. You know who Droopy is?
Yeah, I remember Droopy.
Yeah. Well, Tex Avery was the guy who created Droopy.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so that was 90 years ago today. Sorry about that. About the I misread the thing there. But anyways, so 90 years ago today, Gold Diggers for 49 from Tex Avery was released by Leon Schlesinger Productions, Warner Brothers. So now, moving on to final piece in each history. Final piece in each history tonight. On this date 5 years ago today, November 6th.
Now that's a big jump.
Yeah. 5 years ago today, the 20th issue of Batman Gotham Knights was released on DC Digital on this date back in 2000. It sold for 99 cents for 16 pages, edited by Katie Kubert, who I believe is the daughter of Joe Kubert or something like that. The story was written by Martin Guggenheim, penciled by Priscilla Petrolites. Inaki Miranda did the inking. Troy Peteri did the lettering, and Nick Filardi did the coloring. So the 20th issue of Batman Gotham Knights was released on DC Digital on this date back in the year 2020. All right, so before we finish up here, before we sign off, as it were, Rick, did you want to do any final promotions? Talk about anything you're doing this week? Anything
Well,
like?
of course, we'll be finishing up my comic, coloring it this week on my channel, and then I'll probably start doing some other stuff. Soon I will be bringing back the whatchamacallit, um, the silhouette game. But so yeah, check out my channel for those that haven't checked out my channel. If you like what you see, subscribe and just watch as much as you can to put up my watch time. So thanks very much.
All right, so with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Rick, if you can stick around for just a couple moments, just post show
Yeah.
stuff. But with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.